Hello, hello, hello. This is the Bro Genius. This is Wealth Wednesday. I am going to be talking about today is a wealth plan, wealth planning. If you don't have a plan, plan to fail. Basically, it's the title of this video. I'm gonna knock this out. It's not gonna be that long. I'm gonna make it short and sweet. First of all, the reason why that you need a wealth plan is one it's a wealth plan is different than a financial plan because a financial plan is just basically a plan for how you're going to deal with your finances. A wealth plan is basically look at it like after you have a financial plan and you attain capital from saving, under budgeting, being below budget, paying off your debts, whatever's left over is wealth. Now, one of my very meek subs is he's dealing with on the lower end of the spectrum. But one thing that is surprising about this young brother is that he actually is in a better position than a lot of people, and he probably don't. I don't know if he knows how good of a position that he's actually in. Because here's the thing, this young man does not have any student loan debt. He doesn't have any substantial debt. Okay, he just has. He said he mentioned that he only has like $1,000 worth of debt. That is pretty much what is pretty kind of awesome about that is that no matter no matter like how meek of a situation he might be in, or anybody in that particular if you're just like on the lower end of the basically the financial spectrum, or the I call it the wealth paradigm. If you don't have a lot of debt, meaning you just don't have a lot of student loan debt or credit card debt or any auto loans or anything like that, you are that much all better off than a lot of people that do have a lot of debt. Now, it might appear that people that have nice cars and very cushy incomes, and then even nice luxurious houses, a lot of that stuff comes at a cost. Most of the people that have those things have these nice looking items or things. They have loans that are attached to those. Most cars that you see drive cars is brand new and nice and cushy. There's a car loan that's associated with that. There, it just is what it is. I mean, most people that have houses, they have a mortgage attached to it. Okay. So with that being said, someone that even if they have more of a humble situation, meaning that they don't have that much money, if they don't have that much debt, they're in a better position than a lot of people, because this particular gentleman, if he was able to hit the ground running and immediately go to saving, he doesn't have to worry about the massive amounts of debt that a lot of that plague a lot of people in America. He doesn't have that much. I mean, so he literally he literally has, because the gentleman said he makes about $1,200 a month. I mean, he actually has, if he just saved a little money every month, he literally would basically pay off the $1,000 and actually be more wealthy than most people, because most people's wealth is below their net worth is below is basically any zero value, basically. So if you got anything that you have as far as debt, you take that and then you add whatever you have as far as you own, whether it be a house, whether it be a money in a savings account. If it's less than what you owe, you are in the negative. Okay. you are in a deficit. So that being said, this gentleman is a lot of better off than a lot of people. And then if you don't have that much debt, if you have, let's say, less than $5,000 in debt, you are, I would even say 10, you are doing really, really good. You are in a pretty good position because all you have to do is increase your understanding, your knowledge, and your earnings, and then just kind of keep it right there with whatever debts you have. Establish yourself, create a budget, basically create a debt payoff plan, and increase your income by working a second job, working, some type of side business or something of sorts. And then you'll be in a lot better off position than people that have, like, people like even myself with, I do earn a decent amount of money, but I have, close to $60,000 in student loans. So I just wanted to just kind of talk about, that young brother. He knows who he is, and pretty much kind of give him a little hope because he really is not in a bad situation. He might be in a bad situation as far as where he lives, and as far as being a low wage earner, but you in a lot better off situation because you don't have that much debt. If you do have a lot of debt and you're in humble situations, it's, chips are stacked against you, you can still get up out of that debt cycle, and rise above. Um, but anyway, that what I just said as far as having a budget, having a debt payoff plan, um, increasing your income, and all of that is that's a financial plan. Where the wealth plan comes in is where you basically have attained some type of monies, okay, some type of money, and from that money is basically you have an abundance. Because wealth is pretty much, in the words of the motivational speaker Eric Thomas, also known as ET, pretty much I agree with what he said as far as his definition of wealth. It is just abundance, abundance of basically assets. Okay. So abundance of liquid, hard capital, uh, hard capital meaning like actual gold, precious metals, real estate, land, even cars. Those are hard assets. Liquid assets is like basically money in a savings account, money in a money market account, money in a checking account. So when you have a whole bunch of that, okay, and then you also even have a business, you have like another hard asset is like basically if you have a small convenience store or a little small restaurant, that's a hard asset that's also generating income, okay. Then you getting those monies from those assets, or even the value of those assets, you take that and then you basically start a wealth plan. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen a little bit and then just basically use my little Word document to explain what I'm talking about. Going to make this very short. It's not going to be long because pretty much it is. It's not a lot of things when you complicate it. It's not really that complicated. It's a lot of things. It's very short. It's very sweet. It's not necessarily easy to attain, but the process is simple. Okay. um, the actual fact of doing so is very difficult, but the actual process is very simple. Okay, so the first, I just basically came up with three parts of a wealth plan. So when you, like I say, you have all of these assets, you have them spread out. You got a convenience store, you have a bunch of cars that you actually own the title to, you have real estate that you actually own the title to, and those actual assets also, as a pre-qualifier, they are earning income. You got them rented out, or you own them, you living in them, but you own and you actually have the title, the deed to them. That all of that, and then monies from an account, liquid account such as a checking account, savings account, money market account. Even you can even say, uh, I want to say, I don't want to say IRA, because IRA is a little bit more complicated to get money out. So that term is it's not necessarily liquid. So, but anyway, the monies that you have spread out is a part of this process of attainment. Okay, so with attainment, basically, it's the acquiring, it's the actual, it's the actual acquiring of assets or wealth. Okay, so basically, the part of attainment is actually acquiring assets. Okay, to basically get wealth. Okay, so assets, is actually wealth. Okay, so that's the first part of the wealth plan. So basically, you're gonna take your financial plan, and then you're gonna acquire or make money off of those, off of the plan that you had. And then basically, from that financial plan, you're gonna buy assets from it, whatever you have from your budget left over after you pay all of your debts, and you start making, you're still working, or you still have a business, or you're still self-employed, and whatever capital that you gain. Okay, you want to acquire assets so you can convert it over to a wealth plan. Okay, so the first step in that wealth plan is attainment. So the second step, so once you actually have accumulated all of this wealth, you got a slew of businesses, you have a bunch of assets. You have like three or four houses. You might have a multi-unit, multi-family home, such as like an apartment building. You might have something like mobile home, a whole bunch of mobile homes, or you have a bunch of land, and then you have it being used for farming and growing vegetables and whatnot, and you're actually selling those to restaurants. You have all of these assets, and it is actually wealth. So upon that, what you want to do is you want to grow those assets. Okay, so basically, you want to use math. You know, you want to basically um, grow those assets, twofold, threefold, fourfold. You want to basically write down your financial goals, and then also convert them to a wealth goal of basically growing that wealth. Okay, so how do you grow wealth? Okay, it's ways to actually grow wealth. Basically, you increase this. You increase this attainment of actual wealth, such as buying more properties, buying, getting more companies, more businesses, more land, and you basically create some type of growth plan or strategy for growth. So, for example, let me take Let me take the view, um, actually change the view of this. So, you know what? I'm gonna just, keep it like it is, or just, yeah, I'm gonna just keep it like it is. All right, so it's taking me over here, but I'll just, what I'll do is I'll just back up. All right, so basically, increasing assets and having a strategy to increase assets. 'Cause it's never gonna stop. The part of the wealth is the assets. So a part of this strategy to increase assets, it's part of this wealth plan. So ideally, let's say you have $1 million from your various assets that you've made money on. So how do you grow that? So what you can do is you can start a bank or credit union. Because if you start a bank or a credit union, you can lend money and gain interest. And then you could basically receive receive money from customers. And let's say you got a bank or a credit union, when you're receiving money from customers, that increases your assets. And also increases your ability to lend. So that's just one way. That's just one way of doing it. I mean, you take the banks out of it. You can also do. You can start an investment portfolio, basically an investment group or investment portfolio that is yours. That is basically yours. You just trade, capital, basically of your own capital, and you increase your investments, and you can also you know get into venture capitalism, whereas basically you just giving out money to qualified other business owners that have ideas to start up, businesses and ventures and all kind of different. They might have an app or some type of software. You can start a business around, and what you could do is help them with capital, and then also even some level of expertise to help them get off the ground, and you get a percentage of the company. Okay. So for example, Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter, Snapchat, and most of the companies that you see today on the stock market, they started off through the means, even Airbnb, they started off basically private, and they got funding from venture capitalists. Okay, venture capitalist groups that funded them. Then what they did was the venture capitalists, okay, we said basically, okay, we'll give you $500,000 seed money, but we need 10% of your company. Okay, so basically, we'll give you 500,000, and then we'll also try to help you get, basically make more money, through various means of joining the board of the company to give ideas and vote on ideas. And, basically, that's what a venture capitalist does. And it's pretty lucrative because just think of Facebook now. The valuation of Facebook is like, so many hundreds of billions of dollars. So if you got 10% of that, you're yeah, you're a billionaire. Just giving, a company $500,000 a long time ago. You might have to wait 20 years, 15 years for your return, and then it was risky because, it could have not, they could have the company could have filed bankruptcy. A lot of things could have happened where, things could have went sour. It's a risk, but in giving out capital for someone that has a business or a startup, that's a way of becoming more wealthy to actually grow your wealth. Okay. So, I mean, basically, another thing you could do is just do what you already done. Whatever you did, whatever you did to attain, whatever you did to attain the actual wealth that you already had, just continue. You know, you just a continuation of what you already have done. You know, it's basically continue what you've already done to actually become wealthy. Just just scale it up higher. So just increase scale. So and then once you do all of that and you write all of this down, you create a plan of what you actually where you want to go with this. And once you create that plan, you write it down, you have timelines. Because see, here's the thing about a plan. You want to have timelines of where you want to actually, execute this, and like, a deadline of, so it doesn't become just a plan, because a plan with the date actually, it goes outside of an actual plan. It becomes a strategy of execution. Okay, so you definitely want to put dates behind your plan. Okay, and the final thing is legacy. So your children, and this is why I'm talking about this. Okay, I've already talked about the meager numbers as far as black people and black community and everything. I mean, only in basically black people only inherit about 13% of actual wealth from our parents. We got to break that cycle. So this is very, very important. So at 13% is only getting over $10,000. Okay, and then it's it's not, that's not even enough that to really, it's really like, okay, just money to kind of just like enough to bury your family member, to pay for anything that is owed, and just kind of like move, move around basically, and for a month or two, it's really not that much. Okay, we just gotta do better. So when it comes to legacy, this is important. I would say first, the part of this is education, because that's the main part of legacy. I would say you want to educate your children on whatever you did to make your money, whatever you did to create your wealth. That's the most important part. You definitely wanna educate them on basically whatever you did to learn financial intelligence, natural knowledge, and how you created your wealth. You want to educate them, so when it comes time for you to go to the upper room, your children are not blindsided. They able to be passed on the baton and continue the journey, to win the race. So the education is very, very important in this, because the money, the money is important as well, but the education is equally, if not, I would say more important as a part of the legacy part of the wealth plan. Because give children, how many times have you known people that their parents died, left them a whole bunch of money, and then they just blow through it within a couple weeks, a month, a year. It don't even matter the amount, 50,000, 100,000, million or more. They just blow through it in a couple years, they catching the bus. You see them catching the bus, basically broke, no money, not even broke, just poor. I mean, how many stories have you heard of this? And it's because they didn't get the education along with an inheritance. They just got that inheritance with no education. So that is very, very important. So another aspect of that is actually having an inheritance. Okay, having something for the children to actually inherit. And basically leaving on something for your children, for your grandchildren. You know, something for them to actually take and use for seed money for projects they want to continue on, or if they want to inherit the business, you know, business transfer. Okay. If you got children that are already working in the business and already really, are in key roles in the business, who's going to be the next president? Who's going to actually inherit the business? Okay. And all of this, part of this is, um, basically it goes into estate planning. So that is part of that, having a lawyer that is skilled in estate planning, because a lot of people die and they actually do have some money. They have wealth. I used to listen to a popular radio station where I used to work, WVON in Chicago. It's a couple lawyers on there that's primarily what they do is estate planning. Um, and basically they've told stories about the lawyers that did the estate planning. They mentioned stories where it's people that actually, through just working a job, or whatever they did, they accumulated. They had died with pretty large sums of money, some upwards of $1 million that they died. You know, but they died with no will. Okay, so when you die with no will, with no estate planning, okay, basically it's left up to the government, the local county government, to basically fight it out in probate. And I really don't even know that much about probate, but basically what I do know about probate is that it usually is the result of someone that has died and has not been is no will or any type of estate planning was established. So what we all live in a society, right? So whenever something is left to society to deal with, the government steps in to deal with it. So, if your parents died and you were young and you have no other next of kin to take you in, the government has to come in. They have to figure out where, they have to take the children in, and they become, wards of the state. Well, when someone dies, that's what happens to the assets. The assets become wards of the ward to the state. So the state basically says, okay, we got these assets, and it's up to a probate judge and council of the state figure out what are we going to do with these assets, because the person died with no estate planning. It's people that have actually passed away with no will. Okay. Um, it's people that's very, very famous, legendary musicians that have died with no estate planning, no will. They just died and that's it. Okay. And it's not Michael Jackson. I'll just say that. Michael Jackson had a very well established estate plan when he died. His children are doing very, very well. And his mom was the executor of his estate. So, that being said, um, that's all I have on this. Okay. Um, I definitely recommend people to once if you have no debt, you have a net worth, and you're actually saving money, you're earning sizable amount of money, and you are thinking about growing it and trying to get to a point where you are actually wealthy, because you are at that point and you want to actually grow your wealth and pass it on. I would definitely recommend that you start a wealth plan. If you're not comfortable doing it yourself, there are companies that are into wealth. And I know UBS. I know Zurich. They do that. A lot of companies, JP Morgan Chase. But before you go and do all of that, it's a lot of people that actually are do very well in wealth planning. You don't have to go to the big sharks to do your wealth planning, like Edward Jones and all of them, for wealth planning. You can find people that do wealth planning, but they're more small tier companies. So definitely do your research if you need assistance with wealth planning. Okay. So that's all I have today. Just had to close this one on out before I got on the road. You guys have a wonderful evening.